All right. Looks like most of you've made it to the meeting. Thank you uh, to the for attending the very first remote, or well, the first CADS training for this year, and the first remote kind of training. I don't know what we're going to call it. We are recording the video. Currently, you are muted, but I believe you should be able to unmute if you have any questions, uh, or you can raise a hand, or I'll be watching the chat to see if there's any questions. So just keep me up to date on that. If you want to turn on your camera, fine. It doesn't. You don't have to. I'm not one of those mean instructors that make you keep everything on. So with that, are we all ready? Is there some way to let me know that you can hear me? I guess I should ask.
I can hear you.
All right. Of course you can. You're right on the other side of the wall. All right. So for today's topic, we are going to be looking at Sheet Set Manager. Um, Sheet Set Manager is a tool within Civil 3D that will allow us to organize and make, uh, hopefully, our submissions to. Oh, I gotta add people. Still people coming in. Good. Uh, it will help us organize and manipulate and share information so we're not duplicating information that's common from sheet to sheet to sheet on the plot on plots. It will help us get things going faster and keep consistent across all of our plot sheets. So that's a rough idea of what we're looking at. I know a lot of you have already used it, but it's a good topic to cover, especially at the beginning of the year, just to give a refresher. Uh, so, so that's what Sheet Set Manager can do. Like I said, it allows us to organize. We can select multiple files, put them in one group, one sheet set, and then for like submissions. So if we have a subdivision submission or a land development submission, or even our post-construction stormwater management plans, NPDES plans, they can all be a separate sheet set, or they can be a part of an overall larger submission set to like a township. So that lets us organize. We can add sheets, add tabs, add layouts. Now there is one little catch with the adding of layouts. They can only be in one sheet set. So we'll go over that a little bit later. It allows us to view our sheets. So when we get through here, we'll be able to see all the different sheets in that set. We can hover over them, get basic information from those without even having to open up the sheets. And then the final thing that we use it the most for is for publishing our sets. We can take all those sets, hit one button, and it will open up and create like a PDF of all those drawings in one place, so it's easy for us to send out to clients or for submissions or to whoever needs to have it. So those are the main what is sheet set and how do we use it. So let's get right into the demos and we can look and see what we're looking at, how to create them. I'm going to cover about 3 different ways today on how to create sheet set managers or sheet set. First way is if you're in the XREFMD template, there should be a command folder or project folder commands block, just like this. Oh, I forgot to say, if you want to, you can follow along in CAD and do these things. Just hold off for a couple minutes here before you actually do the step I'm going to do next. And then that way we can keep track of where all the files are going. Okay, so there's our template has these commands in it. In order to use these commands, you have to hold the control button down to select the link. First, I want to show you though, let me see here if I can find it. For this example today, we're going to be creating a folder in our P drive. Typically, when we go through this next step, you would put in the year or whatever, either the year or in some cases, an older project that you're creating one for. It would be the E06 or whatever designation it is for this first folder structure. So let's see here. So when I create let's do a final sheet set. This one's probably has the most setup on it, has been worked on the most. So I'm just going to hold down my control key and click on it. It's going to ask, are you sure? Is this what you want to do? And you can say, okay. And then our little flag window will pop up, and then right here, enter the project year. In this case for today, we are going to, oh, oh, in this case today, we're going to say that our year is training. Oops, got to get over to the right screen. Typically, this would be the year of the project. So 2024, it needs to be all 4 digits or match what was in the P drive folder structure. In this case, for the project number, I'm going to use your initials. That way, it will keep all these things separate. It won't clutter up our P drive and make a big mess of things. So I'm going to bring up the folder. So right now, there is no training folder in here. But when I go ahead and I hit enter here, it's going to go through and it will create a training folder and copy over all the files that are necessary in order to use the template and everything that we've set up previously in your files. And then after it's done, we can hit enter. And now we should have a training folder. Inside that training folder is, okay, Alex, you're going a little bit quick here, but you can see it will start making people's initials in here and make new folders for each person. So it seems to be working great. This is the reason I'm doing it this way, just so we keep things separate. This will probably all be deleted out after we're done. So inside of here, you have your design folder, plot files, final plans, and then it has already populated the most common sheets that we use, and it has created a DST file. The DST file is the file that's used for sheet sets. And it's already renamed it to be my initials. And in this case, this is a final plan, so it shows final. If it was a preliminary, it'd say PRE. Let me see what other, I think for sub, it says sub. For subdivision plans, for construction plans, it says. So it has those already, depending on which control command you pick, it will make that file structure. All right, so that seems to be working. If anybody else wants to try, it's going to be there. We'll look back at this in a little bit. Well, actually, we'll look at it now. So what we have, it puts it all in the correct folder for that file. So it's important to make sure you put in the correct year and the correct project number. If you don't do that, it will put it somewhere where you won't be able to find it again. So, okay, we got all those files ready. In CAD, we can go to, I don't know, my default location for my sheet set's off to the right. Yours may be different. You may have it on a different screen or anything like that. I can go up to open, and we'll go to the P drive. And if I scroll all the way down, there should be a training folder. And in there, there's my initials. And essentially, you're just going to go right down to the plan that you created. So there's my sheet set that was created earlier in that process. I'll go ahead and open it. Okay, that was it. That's all that it shows. But when I go over the sheet set now, it lists all of those sheets. It has subgroups for each part of that final plan set. So we have the land development part, we have the post-construction stormwater management part, we have the E&S part. We haven't built out the sanitary sewer design, HOP as-built drawing section yet, but then we just recently added the drainage maps also. So all those are already pre-configured. They can use all the same information that we enter into the sheet set. Now we do have, from this point forward, we do have an instruction sheet on the Google Drive that we'll share or remind everybody about. But now we're going to show how we go through and set this up. So if you right click on the very top of the project and select properties. I know a lot of you have already used this before, so this is familiar. It's just, we want to make sure that everything in here is filled out. These top parts right here are simple to fill out. We tried to put some kind of placeholder in here. So in this case, this is going to be my initials and then final land development. If I could spell right. There we go. We put that in there. We can put the project number, which is, again, Big Lego Store maybe is what it's going to be called. Now, even though I did select final, it does show preliminary here. That's because a lot of our land development can work this way, so we'll keep it like that. You can fill out all your normal information. All this section down here, the sheet set custom properties, we've gone through and updated those, tried to make it as organized as possible so that it can automatically be shared from layout to layout to layout using fields. We're trying to automate this the best we can so that you don't have to spend the time going through and redoing the same steps over and over and over again. So yes, you can go down through here. The Act 287 has changed a little bit. I don't know if anybody has noticed that yet with the newer sheet set. It does reflect the new layout that we're using. So it seems like there's a lot more information, and they're not quite in the easiest to use order. Unfortunately, didn't think that through enough because it goes by alphabet. So really, it's kind of strange to have the address above the company name. But just keep that in mind. We may get back to that and update that eventually. But all of these things are custom items that we added and can be carried out from sheet layout to sheet layout in order to be used. So you only have to fill it out once and it carries itself through. So everything else is pretty much the same than what we've been used to in the past. We also have way down at the bottom, we have the watermark. That's a good way to keep track of what plan set you're actually working on. If it's just a check set or if it's a submission, you can put all that information right here. Okay. Any questions on any of those? Oh, uh, okay. Evan asked about the one call stuff. It's still up in the air how we're going to actually do it. He said about also just pasting things in. I'm not sure which way is easier yet, but it's still a test. So if you have any feedback on that, let us know so we can figure out the best workflow for that process. All right. So, like I was saying earlier, you're able to, once you have the sheet set created, it's easy to just kind of hover over the different drawings and get a small thumbnail and some basic information about it. It's a lot easier than, or I feel sometimes it's a lot easier than trying to go through file, open it. You can see a little bit, get some information. Let's say we want to open up the, we'll go with the geometry and materials plan. Or actually, before we do that, I almost forgot one of the major things. Right now, this is all going to go, let me bring that back up. Training. Nope, wrong one. Final plans. You'll see right now here, the file that it copied over has a PN PT01. PN stands for project number. PT is the phase type or project type. So that would be like the LD or pre or final. That would go into there. We want to keep those. We do not want to use Windows Explorer to rename these files. That's how we used to do it, and we found it was a lot more work to do it this way. A faster way is to actually rename files within SheetSet Manager. So let me see here, pull up the right window. So right now, if I open up my cover sheet, you can see the items that I changed show, but the file name is still the PNPT01, and that's not to our normal standards. It doesn't have the project number in. So we don't want to go in that way or through our Windows Explorer to rename. So I don't want to save anything there. What we want to do as our first step is we want to right click on the project and we go to rename and renumber. In here, As long as the file is not open, you can actually rename it in this place. So we're going to call, well, this is going to be project number JDH, and it's the final. So we can do final. Oops, or maybe, there we go. Now what I like to do is I just kind of copy that to my clipboard and hit next. And you can actually do this pretty quickly. Go right down through all of them and rename the actual file itself. And this is it still takes a little bit of work, but it's a lot quicker than having to try to repath every single XREF. So this will help you go a little bit faster. And what you'll notice is I'll stop there on that, but hit OK. I'll go back to my folder there that we created, and you'll see those files are now renamed, and that would have the proper project number and the file and the project type. So that's something a little bit different. I'm not sure if everybody knows that tip. Much quicker than repathing. Now we still do have to repath the XREFs. So a way to do that is quick to. So existing conditions will look like this. When you open it, go to your XREF window and you'll see the underscore MD. If you select that and go down to here, you can change the path there. It still takes a little bit of time to do that, but it is still quicker than changing the names in Windows Explorer and then repathing. Um, it's like I said, it's a few clicks, but it's less clicks than before. All right, so that's just a little bit on Sheet Set Manager on how you can start from right inside the template. Another way that you can create a new sheet set is if you're in File Explorer. Let me see here. That won't work. Oh, I lost my drawing. Oh well. Okay. If you are currently in Sheet Set Manager, and I'm sorry, if you're in Windows Explorer and you want to create a new sheet set, you can also do that. Let's say we just pick a project, any project. Oops, no, I probably. If you're already in Windows Explorer and you're in here and you need to make a new sheet set, you should be able to go. Oh, it would help if I used a newer project number that has this set up right. Here we go. There should be a file like this inside of every plot file set. So if that's the final plans, if we go down to preliminary plans, there's one there. Those are just shortcuts. They go to a file that automates the copying of everything over. So if you're already in sheet or in preliminary plans or in any of the plot files in Windows Explorer, you can also run it from here. So this is the preliminary file plans. Let me see. So if I run that, let me see. Can I just double click? Same kind of thing. So I'm going to do training, and my project number is going to be JDH. It's going to go through and do exactly the same kind of copying. Now, if we go to our, we'll go back to our training here. You'll see the new preliminary plans folder has been created. And inside of that, it has JDH pre. And then, but all of these have not been renamed. But they should be considered, or the sheet set is created and it's ready to go to be edited like we were just doing with the final one. One thing that you want to keep an eye on is you can have multiple sheet sets open at one time. So when that happens, there's can be an issue. If you're not paying attention, you could be editing the wrong one. So just keep an eye out on that. Make sure that you have the current one that you want to see. So right now, if I go into here and I open up the pre, it doesn't really tell you what it is because it's all copying the default. But if I go back up here and I say, okay, I want the final. So it's very important to make sure you rename your sheet set as soon as you create it. That way, that will help eliminate some of the issues, but just keep an eye on that because it is possible. And also, if you open up a drawing that is part of a sheet set, there is a chance that it will open up that sheet set that it's part of. So again, you might open up a drawing and not realize it, copy something out of it, close that drawing, and then go paste it into your other sheet set, and it's going to be in the wrong one. So just keep an eye on this top part here so that you know that you're working in the correct sheet set. Then when you're done with the sheet set, you can always right click and hit close. All right. Any ideas or questions on that? I know that's quite a bit real quick, but that's that is the first way of starting and continuing that. Okay. Uh, so if you're inside of the CAD already with with your, you can start it that way. You can start it from um, within Windows File Explorer. The final way that I want to show this morning on how to start a sheet set is if you already have a sheet set for that project. So in this case, I was working with Ellie just yesterday on how to set up a new phase for Horizon. We already have a final for phase one, and now we're going to be starting on phase two. So here is our phase one folder. Inside there, hey, there's their phase one subdivision plan and all the sheets already named for the phase one subdivision. But we don't want to go through and refill out all of those sheet title blocks, all the properties for the sheet manager, um, and all that information. So what we can do, we can actually copy the entire folder. So I'll just hit copy, and I'm just going to paste it right here at the same location. We got a copy. I'm going to rename that folder. We're going to say phase two. Open that up. Nothing has changed in here. Now, I would recommend that if you are in here already, you can go ahead and rename the sheet set, the DST file only. If you change that to whatever phase you're at, that's the only thing that you need to change your name in at this time in Windows Explorer. You then go back into Civil 3D. I'm going to close the sheet set, and I'm going to open the one I just created. So that was on my desktop. Let's see. Training, design. Nope, nope, wrong one. Sheet set training. There we go. There's my phase two. And there's my sheet set. That's the one I just copied and just changed the name of it. Go ahead and open. And here's all the sheets that we had for phase one. Now, if we hover over one of these, you'll see that it will show you, whoops, there we go. Let's see if I can do that. It will show you the actual name of the file that it's trying to reference. So phase, or the file name that it's going to reference is the 18278 phase one sub existing. But it also will show you, I believe, the path that it's in. And in this case, it's the location that's in the phase two folder. So once we rename it, notice it doesn't change the properties of the name or the name inside Sheet Set Manager, it only changes the file name. So you need to go into properties, and you would go through and you'd just make the necessary revisions to say it's phase two. So pretty quick. You'd go down through there, you'd probably take out all the revision dates, get those cleared out since it has not been submitted. Hopefully you don't have to fill up every single revision date, but that's not how it usually works. So you'd make these revisions and you'd make your submission date. Now this is an older sheet set, so it's going to be missing anything new that we added. So as you can see, a lot of the Act 287 information is missing and the watermark area is missing. So that's one of the downfalls of using an older one, but it's still probably quicker than starting fresh. Hit OK on that. You'll see here now the sheet set has a new name, Phase 2. And then you can start doing the rename process in here. And again, all you need to do is basically change one item and you can copy and paste the rest of the way down. Again, this will help to keep things so we don't have an issue of having duplicate file names. And that way we're not running into issues like, oh, which one is the correct file? So yeah, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but when you do copy, it does keep, see, I didn't have to change the path that it was looking for. It still went to the phase 2. It looks for the files in the same folder that the DST file is in. And that's how we can get away with just copying all things just in one big shot. Okay. Those are the three main ways that we can create sheet sets and use Sheet Set Manager to help keep our information consistent across multiple sheets. Again, you can create them by using the commands. You can create them by being in Windows File Explorer and clicking on the Create folder or Create Sheet Set BAT file, or you can copy an existing one and rename it. Any questions to that? That's pretty much the main part of how to create them. We also showed how we can edit the information and keep things in track so that we can share the same information from sheet to sheet to sheet, keep as consistent as possible without having to open up every single sheet in order to change one little piece of text in the title block. The last thing I wanted to show you for today is different ways of publishing that this can help publish. Right now, you can see we have our subdivision plans, we have our post-construction stormwater management plans, we have our E&S plans, all in this sheet set, because we wanted to submit those all to the township as a single package. So I know a lot of you have already done this, so this is pretty basic information here. You can right-click on the very top, and you can say Publish. You want to make sure that the Include Plot stamp is checked, just so that we have a way to go back and double check and make sure we are looking at the correct plans once they are plotted. And I typically then would just go to publish to PDF. I found that the PDF is a little bit more flexible. It does take a little bit of time to create it, but you don't have to worry about your plot settings for each sheet if you're plotting to the 5100, or if we get a new plotter in the future, it won't be called the 5100 and you'll get a lot of errors. So if you just publish the PDF first, then you can make adjustments to where you want to plot to. Now, if you just need to make a PDF of a certain subset, you can also just click on that subset and go to publish. And again, double check to make sure that include plot stamp is on and then hit publish to PDF. It does take time, but it will go through and automatically open up each file, plot it to PDF, and then when it's all done, you'll have one PDF containing all the sheets that's included in what you selected. Let's say you need to print out just utility plans. You can actually click on the file. If you hold down Control, you can even skip over, or if you want to do all of them, you can hit Shift and click them all. And then right click and do Publish, and that will allow you to publish only those 4 sheets. So if you have something strange where somebody wants just this sheet, this sheet, and this sheet, let's say they only want to see the overall ones, I can easily go down through here and just pick the overall plans and only print those out or publish those. So you have a couple different options in there. One other setting that Evan and I were discussing earlier today is if you right click on there, and there's an option under publish. We have been having some there's some possible issues. There's two separate ways to publish anything in CAD. There's the way that we have things set up is either overwrite or merge lines. We have found that there's issues with both ways, but you can do a mass change of that setting within this publish. So you would go down to uh, set PDF publish options, and what you'll see is right here. Now I prefer overwrite, but I can see it definitely. There's some locations where merge is better. Or no, I prefer merge. Overwrite, you have to control the line weights, whereas merge, you could lose some line work if it's not a proper color. One of the issues where we've seen this pop up is location maps. Um, a lot of our latest location maps are kind of dark because of the aerials, and we thought we could use white text in order to um, label things in those. But what we found is if it's in overwrite, it will show up well, but if it's in merge, that white text usually disappears. Now, conversely, if you have it in merge, that means you need to make sure that your display order on screen is correct for certain line types. So the example I was giving this morning was if you have an LOD, that's usually kind of a grayed out line type, but it overlaps on top of a property or bearings and distances. Depending on the display order, if it's to the front or above those other things, it will actually not allow you to read that text. So both options have some issues. If you see something when you plot it out and it doesn't quite look right, it could be one of these two settings here. It looks like by default, I actually don't know which way by default is set up. When I opened this, it was overwrite. Like I said, I usually try to use merge, but they both have good uses and they also have some drawbacks. So just be aware of that. That's where that setting is, but you can set it for all the sheets when you go to publish. All right. Well, we're over. Well, no, we're just over a half hour. I think that's all we're going to cover today. I'm sure there's still lots of things, little details that could be picked up and called out. Please let me know if you have any questions. I hope that this whole process works for everyone. We'll be so give me feedback on that also, and we'll continue and go forward next month with another topic. Thank you very much. Have a great day.